Hi.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Knock Knock Hi. With the Glauc and Fleckens, it's time for Glauctalk.
Yeah.
I am Dr. Glauc Flecken.
I'm Lady Glauc and Flecken.
Will and Kristen Flannery. Thank you for joining us. We're so excited to have you today. Kristen, you have been wanting to renovate this studio.
Yep.
And
calling it a studio right now is generous.
Yeah, basically like build a new studio in this room.
Yes.
And I've been resistant, trying to block it. And you didn't have to hire someone to fake assassinate me in order to get this done.
I did not.
So it's okay. Like we can go ahead. We can do it.
Okay, good.
So I'm
doing it anyway.
Okay. All right. All right. I didn't have to give you approval. Okay.
No, I mean, I do the. I try to be courteous and get your take on it, but.
Well, I'm glad you didn't try to have me killed because I was not letting you do it.
Yeah, I would never do that.
Thank you. I've tried to die on my own enough.
That's right. I've saved your life. I don't try to take your life.
You don't even need somebody to do that for you. I'll just do it on my own.
But don't though.
No, I won't.
Okay.
I'll just try.
No, but don't.
Oh, don't do that either?
Yeah, try not to.
You want me to just be alive?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I think I can.
That's what I would prefer.
That's like the least I can do as a husband and father. It's I've set the bar so low that the request from my wife is, "Hey, just be alive."
Did you do this on purpose? Is this like a grand scheme? You're like, you know what? 10 years in, I can really coast.
Do you really think that I have that kind of foresight and planning capability to make that kind of thing happen?
Nor do I think you can make your body just spontaneously combust.
Well, let's see. How would we do that? I don't know how that would happen. Yeah, you can't really fake like a testicular tumor.
No.
Those are the ones. You kind of can feel those things, like it's there,
right?
So
yeah, it's not like you could just say it's inside, and I can't see it.
So anyway, I will stay alive for you.
Okay, thanks.
Yes, and so recently, we got a couple things, a few things to talk about. So some interesting like healthcare stuff in the news. But first, I just got back from. I spent the weekend, a couple different speaking events I went to. So to the Heart Rhythm Society.
Yeah.
And
you sent me a fun picture from that one.
What did I send you?
You don't remember?
No, I don't.
It was a person that you encountered.
Oh yeah. It was at the meet and greet. So the Heart Rhythm Society is was in Chicago, and it's like all the electrophysiologists, which so many of them were like, you have to have an electrophysiologist character. We need it. No one knows what we do. So like,
I mean, if anyone would have one, it really should be you.
I know. It's just, I have the cardiologist, but they are they went through cardiology, but then they do this special
counterpoint, you have neurology and neurosurgery.
See, but that's not even.
I know it's not exactly the same thing, but they are like adjacent.
Well, so that's like the difference between a cardiologist and a cardiac surgeon is miles compared to a cardiologist and an electrophysiologist.
Yeah.
Like cardiologist and electrophysiologist, they're not the same, but there's more overlap there than a cardiologist and a cardiothoracic surgeon.
What if the cardiologist is an electrophysiologist?
Oh, and that's like a reveal.
Yeah. He's, because he is a cardiologist.
I'm with you. I could do that. That's because they have all the mentality and the personality that lends itself to cardiology to push them into cardiology in the first place. So it's not too much of a stretch to say they're.
Are they like a
ego of a surgeon, intelligence of a non-surgeon? Yes, of course.
Are they a subset of cardiology? Like that's not the way to phrase that. Like
they do a fellowship.
Yes. Okay. So you do residency in cardiology and then a fellowship in electrophysiology.
Residency in internal medicine.
Oh, internal med.
Yep. And then fellowship in cardiology.
Oh boy.
And then a second fellowship in electrophysiology.
See, so it's easy enough to like say this guy did another 1 year or however many.
It's so cool. That's the cool part about internal medicine is you can just keep doing fellowships until it's time to retire.
And I bet that the people drawn to internal medicine that find that appealing.
Yes. And so we So I did my keynote, and I did something different for the keynote that I haven't done before.
Oh, I haven't
I
heard this.
included my genetic testing report.
Were you trying to get like free?
So I was trying to convince them that the whole Glaucomflecken universe, everything I've built on social media with the skits, it was all a ruse to get to be a keynote speaker at Heart Rhythm Society.
Right, to try to get as many opinions as possible.
A captive audience of 1,000 electrophysiologists so they can all put their heads together, their brilliant, smart heads, and figure out what the hell happened with my heart.
Wait, so you said you showed them your genetic testing.
Yes.
Is that correct? They're not geneticists.
Some of them are.
What?
There's like they a lot of them do like genetic, like they're like pediatric electrophysiologists.
So they did like yet another fellowship?
I don't know if they have to do like an extra fellowship for it, but it's their world. And so they're going to know.
I thought that was a separate thing though. Like when you got your genetic testing, it was a separate person that we had to go to.
Well, to do the genetic testing?
No,
I don't remember.
I know you don't, but I do.
But, well, anyway. And so, I wanted them all to look at my genetic report on this massive 20-foot screen. And we just sat there for a moment. They were cool with it until I locked the doors.
That tends to make people nervous.
Yeah, it's like, we got to figure this out before you guys leave. But I let them kind of sit with it, look at it. So were
they taking notes? Any of them?
Well, some of them were, and taking pictures for sure
of your genes. Great,
all of my genes, and specifically this mutation I have.
Yes,
which
you're gonna have to fill some people in, I think.
So I had a cardiac arrest, and to this day, we still don't know why I had a cardiac arrest.
Correct.
The only potential small little clue we have is that I have a mutation of, quote, uncertain significance in the phospholamban gene. Or the gene, sorry, the genetic code that encodes phospholamban protein, there's a mutation in it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm using the right terminology, but anyway, it's been a while since I did genetics.
But it is not one of the ones that we know causes cardiac arrest. We don't even know if, it's a variant of unknown significance.
So, and my parents got tested. My mom also has the same mutation.
And she has never had heart issues.
She had a echo and everything, and her heart's fine. So,
who knows?
Anyway, we don't even know. But then, actually, I didn't tell you about this.
Oh.
2 people came up to me in the meet and greet line. One was the guy that like mapped out phospholamban.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh man, I wish I was there.
Yeah. And he was like, he said, really, it's not unknown significance, it's no significance.
Really?
Yeah. So he's
certain that has nothing to do with it?
He seemed very confident.
Did he give you a reason
why? And it
why?
wasn't just cardiology confident. It was like, like legit
you should
confident.
Like trademark that. Cardiology confident.
No, he told me. He like reassured me. He's like, I saw your mutation.
And you just now told me this?
Yeah, I didn't.
That would have been lovely to know.
I don't remember the guy's name. It was so quick. He just came up to me but he just like shook my hand. He was like, I like did.
I'm that guy.
It's like my gene.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't.
Is his name Mr. Lamban?
His first name's Phospho, last name Lamban. Dr. Lamban, he reassured me and said,
I really would love to know why he's so sure.
And then I had another guy come up and he told me basically that was like a run of, he says, I'm sure it was just like a run of PVCs that just like tilted your heart
just
into
a whoopsie daisy.
Yeah, just like a whoopsie daisy kind of thing. Idiopathic. So I think that's probably the best explanation we're going to get. But then the last meet and greet person that came in was my electrophysiologist.
Yeah.
My electrophysiologist who put in my defibrillator. Shortly after he did my surgery, he went to Texas to practice.
Yes.
And so, I
haven't seen him in a while.
In like 5 years. And he showed up in the line, Dr. T,
Yeah.
And
shout out Dr. T.
took a picture, and just such a nice guy.
Yeah.
And
He is very nice. I
yeah, just
remember
really
interacting
calm.
with him.
It's like a calming presence in a very chaotic
Seems
time.
odd for a cardiologist, no?
To
be so calming.
I think.
Like usually they're kind of intense, you know?
I think they can be, but I mean, there's exceptions to every rule.
Yeah.
So that was just who he was. He's just very, soft spoken, and which is kind of what we needed at the time.
Yeah, it really was. And you know what? I much preferred interacting with him than the cardiologist in the emergency room who told me he would have liked it better if I had seen you collapse. Just two very different approaches to patient
Those exact
care.
words.
Exact words. I will never forget it because it made me feel like garbage.
I would have liked it better if you had seen him collapse.
And I knew what he meant, and he didn't mean it as it sounds.
Yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
But in that moment, it's like,
he meant,
I just spent 10 minutes doing CPR on this guy. Like, I gave it everything I had. I'm sorry that I was asleep while his heart stopped.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like there's better ways to say it, but also I don't think that needed to be said, period. Like, what does it matter? Like, the fact of the matter is, he probably asked, like, did you see him collapse?
He wanted
You said
to
no.
know.
And you're like, what's the point of even saying, well, it would have been better if you did? Like,
yeah,
like,
exactly.
You don't even
listen,
leave it at that.
Here was the context. He was trying to say that he would be able to be more precise if he knew how long it had been between onset of your cardiac arrest and onset of CPR. That was the discussion at hand.
I see. Okay. So that does make sense, but still really very awkward way of putting
and it really did, even though I knew logically that that's what he meant and he didn't mean it the other way, it still made me feel like I hadn't quite done enough. Like I could have done something better.
Did he know what you had done?
I assume so.
Maybe not.
Because he said, he knew I was the one that was there, so.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, Dr. T was.
Yeah, Dr. T was
much nicer and.
I still remember when he consented me for the.
Oh, that was him that consented you?
Yeah, yeah. He's the perfect person to do it, but it was like so whenever they put the defibrillator in, I know you know, but for the audience, when they put the defibrillator in, they check it to make sure that it functions okay, that it works. And I heard, so that's what happened. I went back into the hospital to get my defibrillator placed. He walks in and he sits down and he starts talking to me about, he's like, we need to talk about one thing before we go in. And he told me that they have to.
Because we were like, oh yeah, that makes sense. You check it. Sure. Yeah. Definitely make sure it works.
Well, no.
But what we didn't realize.
Okay, so I didn't even.
How they do that.
Right. Well, actually, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
I didn't even think about, I thought, honestly, in my mind, I was like, oh, they're going to put it in, and if my heart ever stops, it's going to go off. So I had no idea that they actually had to test it.
I mean, it makes sense.
On my body.
Yeah.
Yes. Now, hearing him explain it, it made sense. But what they do is they pace the heart using fancy machines. I don't know how they do it, but they do it. They pace the heart and make it go faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. And eventually it can't go fast enough. And it goes into ventricular fibrillation.
Yeah.
It's like shorts out the heart. And then the defibrillator fires and brings you back.
Yeah.
So I was about to have that happen to me in the operating room. Obviously, I'm asleep, but I was so.
But this was brand new information.
No, so I was not nervous really, and then he said that.
Yeah,
I got insanely nervous.
Of course, he basically said, "We're going to kill you
scared.
and bring you back."
And then I remember that he had to call you.
No, you called me.
I called you. For some reason I remember thinking like.
You called me to tell me that that's what they were doing.
But I wonder if it was like I guess I wouldn't have had to call you. Like as part of the consent process.
You were upset.
Yeah.
And you called. Rightly. Well, I think
I think
the thing is you call because like maybe you're about to die. So better make this call first. You know?
Right. He didn't call you separately at all about it? Do you remember?
I don't remember.
Okay.
What I remember is you telling me, and I do know that was how I found out.
Yeah. Do you think it would have been better if he had, because we had talked to him like before, like weeks, a couple weeks before for the first time. Do you think it would have been better to like know 2 weeks ago and then just wait
It's a
until
good
the
question.
surgery?
I don't know.
You
I sometimes
might have
like that
wanted.
because I need like some time to
I am so glad
wrap
he
my mind
waited.
around it. But yeah.
I am so glad we waited until right before, because if I just sit there and think about it
Here's the
for
thing.
2 weeks.
For you, it was right before. For me, like, let me rephrase that. For you, you only had to know that information for a few minutes before you were unconscious, and then you were just awake again. For me, it was all day.
Yeah.
Did he live? Did it work? Is he,
Well, I remember they had to postpone my case till the next day because he was in like, the surgeries went long. Do you remember that?
No.
Yeah.
So he told you the day they actually did it, not
not the first day.
Yeah.
I had to go back, so I had to leave, come
Yeah.
back, and so I got
Yeah,
I
so
got
it's
bumped.
already like emotionally draining.
Yeah, like the only other time I'd ever been bumped was like on a comedy stage.
Yeah.
Like for someone who was funnier than me. But I got bumped in the operating room that day.
Yeah.
All right, so heart rhythm side. So it's really I'm so glad I was able to go.
Yeah, it's very,
because
very
all these
special.
I knew like then there's gonna be someone in here that like
Yeah.
knows what all of these mutation, like this genetic test report like shows.
Yeah.
And they were eating it up. They were loving it.
I thought you were going to say that you showed them your heart rrhythm.
Well, that's just ventricular
They just like know what
fibrillation.
that looks like.
Yeah, it's just a danger
It's not
squiggle. That's
interesting.
all it is.
Yeah.
And so anyway, did that one. Really enjoyed that. Went down to Florida, Amelia Island,
Lovely place.
to talk to the leadership at Baptist Health, which is a big hospital system in kind of North Florida.
Right.
And something really funny happened.
What?
Let me tell you about this. So, it's Amelia Island, so they got nice pools, nice beach. So I was set to do entertainment that night.
Just like a stand-up set.
Well, it's stand up, but how I do. I bring in some of our story and talk about the cardiac arrest, and there's some advocacy stuff that I bring up as well. But it's 90% jokes and just stand up comedy routine. So that was going to be happening that night. So during the day, I had some free time and went to the pool. And what were you doing while I was at the pool in Amelia Island? It was a
What day
Saturday.
would that have been? Saturday? Oh, I was running at kids around all over the Portland metro area and purchasing a tree.
I do think about that sometimes. I'm sitting by the pool. I'm like, should I call Kristen just to say hi? But I think that might have just.
If you had called me then and said, I'm just relaxing by the pool, I would have hung up on you.
That's why I, for the most part, don't. We don't talk a lot on the phone while I'm on like a work trip. It's because we've been married for so long.
Yeah, I assume at this point that if I don't hear from you, that everything's going fine. If you do call, I'm like, uh-oh, what happened?
All right, so I'm going to tell you what happened at the pool. Let's take a quick break.
Okay.
Hey, Kristen, remember how you love eyelid mites now?
Sure.
Well, there's a lot of confusion out there. I want to clear something up.
Okay.
All right. People think they can get eyelid mites from dogs and cats.
Can they?
No. These particular Demodex mites are specific to humans.
Okay.
So spread from dogs and cats is not expected. That's a myth.
Can't get them from cuddling our poodle.
No. Demodex mites that cause blepharitis live on humans. Most adults already have them. They just usually don't cause problems. It's when they overgrow that they can lead to itchy, red, irritated eyelids. Those little collarettes.
The crusties at the base of the eyelashes.
Right.
And the good news is there's a prescription eye drop available for Demodex blepharitis.
That is great news. To learn more about eyelid health and Demodex blepharitis, visit miteslovelids.com. Again, that's miteslovelids.com to learn more. This ad is brought to you by Tarsus Pharmaceuticals. All right, so I'm at the pool, Amelia Island, at the Omni, and the pool chairs are pretty close together. So I'm sitting there. I'm actually typing, working on some stuff. under the shade because I learned that when we went to Puerto Rico recently, it was like how devastating the sun can be when you're like closer to the equator than where we are now.
Yes, you got burned even though you took precautions.
Yes. So I'm staying out of the sun. So I like had a towel over my shoulders as like
You're
the
really
umbrella.
just full
Right.
Oregon stereotype
Oh,
here.
absolutely. I kind of looked like a dermatologist in that moment. So anyway, so I'm sitting there on a chair, and a couple sits down next to me, and very nice couple, and they're like my age probably,
Mhm.
and they're talking to each other, talking about I can't help it over here because we're like literally 6 inches apart from each other, and so they're talking about what's in store for their evening, and the guy was like, "Oh well, we got the cocktails at 6 and then dinner at 7." At this point, I know they're at the event that I'm gonna be
Because
at.
they're describing it.
And then dinner, and then after dinner, there's, some like entertainment guy.
Mhm.
Yeah, I don't
People are
know, like a
always so confused
comedian.
when there's entertainment at a conference.
His name's like, it's like a Gokin, uh, G
Okay.
like a Godokin, G and
Gadunk-gadunk.
the wife is like, he's like trying to say she's looking at him like he's having a stroke, and he's like, I let him struggle for like 20-25 seconds,
Uh-huh.
and then finally, like, put him out of his misery. I lean over and I'm like, "It's Dr. Glaucomflecken."
Yeah.
And he looks at me. He's like, "Oh, you know who that is?"
Yeah. You're like, "I've met him."
It's like yeah, it's funny. He's got some great content, but it's a little strange he wears costumes, but and I told him, like, yeah, that's eventually he was like, "Wait, are you that guy?" I'm like, "Yeah, that's me." I'll
Oh,
be
so you fessed up to being.
eventually, yeah. So I let it go as long as I could, and
Yeah.
then and then we all shared a big laugh about it. And then I told
How did you break that news? I wanna know what that conversation was like.
to the couple.
Yeah, they're like, "Hey, that's me, actually." After you've been talking about
Yeah.
him for.
We weren't talking about him for like. I mean, I just said that, and then he said, "Oh, you know who that is?" And it's like, "Oh, that's me. Yeah,
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
like I'm Dr. Glockenplate." And we were all laughing about it. And then I told that story on stage to the group, which it's like a big room. It was like probably 400 people or so. Spouses. I love it when there's medical spouses,
Mhm.
like the spouses of the medical
Right,
folks.
right.
Because I always try to have some, they love it when I make fun of
Of course, we
their
all do.
partners. So I told that story, and they were eating it up.
Yeah.
That couple, they're like pointing at themselves, like that was us, that was us. It
We're
was great. It
famous.
was great. So
That's fun. Well,
uh,
I'm glad they took it well.
yeah. It was a good crowd. It's a good crowd. Sometimes you don't know what you're gonna get.
Yeah.
Especially when there's a handful of people that don't know who I am, never seen my
Right.
content. That was the problem I had when I first started doing speaking engagements as Glockenflecken.
Mhm.
I would, they would slot me in. It wasn't keynotes because I wasn't well enough known at that
Mhm.
point. Like my platform wasn't big enough, and so I would get invited just by somebody who like, oh, that guy, like you're an ophthalmologist. So it's mostly like eye meetings and stuff, like
Mhm.
smaller ones.
Mhm.
Occasionally like an emergency medicine conference, and they would like put me in a plenary session,
Yeah.
like right in the middle of like somebody like talking about like, some research trial and
Right.
another person talking about another research trial. And I come and it was like, "Well, what about the bicycles and the helmets?"
Yeah. And ophthalmologists are not, terribly known for being,
No, no, yeah. And so it was like, and we're
lighthearted.
talking like 19, probably 2018, 2019, when I
Yeah.
first did my first couple.
Yeah, it was
And
very unusual.
it
There
was,
was
it was,
no such thing as medical comedy.
well, it existed, but it was like,
Where?
it did not exist in like in academic conferences
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
But there were like maybe a couple people that were like, had comedic personas on social media, but it wasn't like a, in-person thing.
Yeah.
And um and so when I would do those in the early days, I would just first of all, it was always like 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah. If you're
Miserable.
lucky.
If I'm
Sometimes 7.
miserable, like early, and then I'm coming in, they've just learned about like the genetics of acute ankylosing glaucoma.
Right. Which is what they are there to hear about. That's what they want.
And then I'm like joke man coming in at 8:30 in the freaking morning.
And they're like, why is this guy here?
And they're like people are in the back getting coffee.
Yeah.
Coming in and out, phones are going off. There's like whispering and so just like the worst type of environment to try to tell jokes.
Right.
And I would just get a lot of confused looks. Like people weren't sure if they were supposed to laugh.
Right.
And it wasn't because
they didn't really introduce.
Well, they didn't introduce me.
Situation.
They said they would not even say Glauckenflecken sometimes.
Yeah.
They would like Dr. Will Flannery.
Oh boy.
I corrected that. I learned some things.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, can we, or just like, it wasn't even like a real introduction, right? It was just kind of go up there.
Right. Oh, rough.
And so like no expectation, like so much of performing is just like setting expectations for the audience.
Yeah.
This is what you're about to experience.
Right.
And that when you walk into a comedy club.
Yeah.
Oh, I am going to laugh here. You go to a medical conference. I am going to learn here.
Right.
Wait, why are you making me laugh?
Right.
I don't want to have to laugh right now.
Yeah. Well, did they laugh? That's the first question.
Well, they did. So it would just take so long to like warm them up because they're totally cold.
Confused.
It's a cold audience. They're confused. They don't know what I'm doing. And so the early going is miserable. I mean, there were a few times I was like, why am I even doing this?
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is not worth it. I just kind of look like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the jokes, and I knew the jokes were good because some of the jokes I still tell today.
Yeah.
And it's get great laughs.
Right.
So it really was just wrong environment, wrong setup. And eventually it took like a couple of years and I started doing keynotes and I got like adequate introductions and it was just a lot better.
And
people knew me
to get your shtick.
Yeah, it's just like the difference between being a relative unknown and trying to make a room loud. That's why I don't know if I could honestly go into like a random comedy club and just like do a set of medical comedy.
Yeah, because it'd be in reverse. It'd be like, why is he talking about healthcare?
Some of my stuff would translate to like a general audience, but it's so specific to medicine now.
Yeah.
But just people like knowing who you are.
Yeah. Makes a difference.
How you're halfway there. Like they're expecting to laugh. They're going to be more likely to laugh. So, anyway, so good speaking trips.
Yeah.
Back in Portland, Oregon.
Yep. It's always rough when we come back from speaking trips because like life does not stop.
I know.
And you come back and you're tired, especially because we always have to go east because we're all the way west.
How many husband points did I use on this trip?
Look, you left me with both of your parents, both of my parents, and our children.
They were helpful.
Uh-huh.
No?
No, they were. But there was a lot
our parents are going to listen to this.
There were a lot of logistics discussed all weekend because there was a lot going on.
There's a lot going on.
There was a lot of like car swapping.
Yes. I did leave you in that situation.
Yeah, I really should have had you we should have dropped you off so we could keep your car. Anyway, no one cares about this. But yes,
well,
you made a withdrawal.
I made a withdrawal of husband dollars. Okay. Well, just put some back in the bank. Gotta make some money.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have anything more for a little while, except for this week. And by the time people are hearing about this will already happen. But I'm in Eugene doing the fundraiser for the Eugene emergency physicians.
Yes.
I got some exciting things planned.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. This is great because I get to make fun of PeaceHealth as much as I want. I don't have to pull any punches.
Mm-hmm.
See, when I do a keynote or a health system, like there's things like I have a lot of leeway, but there's going to be things I'm not going to bring up.
Yeah.
I can.
You want to be like considerate.
I adjust because it's their event.
Right.
Right. They're putting it on, not really they're not for me.
Right.
It's for their members.
Right.
I'm just there to just people would have fun. So there's things I'll talk about, things I won't talk about, but stuff like this thing I'm doing, this fundraiser, where I feel like I can just say whatever I want.
Yeah.
it's gonna be great.
Some people are not going to know what PeaceHealth is all about and why you're
Oh,
making
well, if
fun of
they've been
them.
watching this podcast, they know. Yeah.
True.
The PeaceHealth fiasco of the of PeaceHealth in Eugene not renewing the contract of the local emergency physician group who've been there for 35 years, giving it to a corporate group based out of Atlanta, Georgia.
Yeah.
And then all the shenanigans that have happened. Did you hear about what happened? The most recent thing is that there were emails that came out of the CEO of Riverbend Hospital who made this decision to not renew the contract, was trying to influence clinical decision-making of the physicians and the emergency physicians who were seeing the patients.
Okay.
Like putting pressure on them
why?
for money, for like finances. Like, are you sure that person needs this imaging study? Why did you do this? I don't think we need to be admitting that patient. Let's send them here or there. And his license does not allow him to do that.
I was going to say, what are his credentials to be
Well,
doing
he is a
this?
physician, but he doesn't have a license to practice medicine in the state of Oregon.
Yeah.
And so, and it was the things he was suggesting were not appropriate. But it's like the CEO.
Right.
So if you're like a physician,
yeah, now you're in a tough spot.
You're in a tough spot. And so there were a few whistleblowers of a few of the physicians, the emergency physicians, who went to above him, went to PeaceHealth, like the big PeaceHealth CEO, not just the one of this hospital, and said, "Hey, we're concerned. This is what's happening. What do we do about this?" That found its way to the CEO of Riverbend Hospital. And then shortly after he found out about those emails, he called for proposals for the emergency contract.
Oh, this guy's not going to be having a good time anytime
Well,
soon.
he's already on administrative leave.
Yeah.
Because of this.
Good. It should be.
And so it's shaping up to really honestly look like retaliation.
Yeah.
That's because we have no other reason for why that decision was made.
Yeah. 35 years, everything's going along, and then all of a
Yep.
sudden, oh, what do you know? You're fired.
So I'm going down this on May 1st, going to Eugene, and there's a fundraiser for like the legal fees because they're suing, obviously, which honestly this could have big implications for the rest of the country. Yeah,
that's the thing that was interesting to me. It's like it's not just this one hospital or something.
Because this kind of thing is happening in a lot of places.
It is, but then this case will be particularly, meaningful because it's you say because it's like the first.
It's the first the first challenge to the corporate practice of medicine law that we have in Oregon.
And are we the first state to have that law?
There's other states that have similar laws.
Okay.
California has one.
Okay.
But I think ours is a little bit more stringent and is specifically designed to try to prevent this exact thing from happening, where care is outsourced to this corporate group. And because it's bad for communities, bad for patients, you want your doctors to be invested in the community. But what this Apollo MD will do, and what they've already done, is just blast out these advertisements for locums doctors.
Right.
Just come in for a month at a time and leave. They're not invested in the community. They don't care.
No. Yeah.
And especially with emergency medicine, you got to have your doctors care about the community.
Yeah.
Because that is such that's the safety net for a community.
Yep.
Right? You got to have doctors, you got to have emergency physicians who know the other doctors, know the systems, know the social services, know the population, the personalities, the
culture,
the events that happen in the community that can bring you business of injuries and things. It's just all that stuff, all these things you don't really think about. So important. And you're just losing that.
Right.
And giving it to a doctor who lives in, Missouri or whatever.
Yeah.
Who's going to come in for 2 weeks, do a few shifts, and then leave. I don't give a shit about Eugene, Oregon.
Right.
All right. They're just there for a paycheck. That's not appropriate. So anyway, they're fighting this, and if they're successful, I think you can see other states. They're fighting the decision And if they're successful, you'll see other states try to adopt the same legislation.
Yeah, because it'll show that it has some teeth
Right.
and like people.
So that's what the fundraiser is for, the legal fund, and it's if people are interested in donating, actually, you can find it through the AAEM. It's the I want to say American Academy of Emergency Medicine. Oh, I think that's what it is, but the acronym is AAEM. Just search AAEM Eugene.
Yeah.
Emergency physicians, and it'll come up, and maybe we can also include it in the notes for this episode.
Definitely, because I don't think even though you will have already done the fundraiser by the time this comes out, I don't think their legal fees are going anywhere anytime soon.
Yep. So I'm gonna go and tell jokes and apologize to everyone for calling Eugene Southern Oregon.
Oh, yeah, you did do that.
Yeah.
What do they consider? I know there's they're central, but they're also western.
I am going to ask them.
Okay.
I'm going to project.
Because I think it's western. I'm going to predict western.
I'm going to project a map of Oregon, and we are going to talk about.
Okay. Because Central Oregon means on the other side of the mountains.
Because right before I started recording, this, I checked my phone. I'm still getting comments.
People get
thousands of comments
about being mischaracterized.
It's not Southern Oregon. It's like, it's not the point. It's not the point. Okay. Anyway, let's take one more break and we'll wrap this up. So I think it's
Western Oregon.
Eugene is Western Oregon.
Mm-hmm.
See, I think about that as like the coast, but they call it the coast.
It's west of the Cascades.
West of the Cascades is west. I've never heard anybody mention Western Oregon.
I have.
It's either the coast or the gorge or Southern Oregon or Portland.
Well, we'll find out.
Or Western. I'd hear Western Oregon.
You just said you didn't.
Sorry, not Western. Eastern Oregon.
Eastern, yes.
I hear Eastern Oregon referenced a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I hear like Willamette Valley.
Willamette Valley, yeah.
I hear.
Which is Eugene part of Willamette Valley still? I think they are.
Is it? Maybe that's what it is. Anyway, I'm going to find out and I'll report back.
Only Oregonians care about this right now.
Right. But everyone's so mad at me on social media.
I know.
So many. I mean, it helped the post go viral.
Take a poll.
I don't like, what do I call you? Because, and I told in a follow-up video, I was like, I'm sorry for saying this. It was very Portland of me.
Yeah.
It's a very Portland thing to do.
Yeah.
To call anybody south of Portland, Southern Oregon.
Yeah.
So anyway, and then Southern Oregonians were mad at me.
Of course. They're like, we don't claim them. They're the weirdos.
On the Medford subreddit, there's a post about me.
This feels like one of those neighborhood Facebook group arguments.
Is crazy.
You know?
Like I have stepped in. Oh my God. It's so, I mean, it is what it is, but so I apologize to everyone.
He's not from here, people. He's not a native Oregonian. He doesn't know.
I've lived here for 10 years though. Like, I mean.
You should know.
I should. And after people pointed it out, I was like, oh yeah, why did I say that? So I recognize it was just a faux pas. It was a flub. And unfortunately, a very benign one. And at least I think it is.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for Glauctalk for today. Let us know where you think Eugene is, if you have any opinions. Email us, knockknockhi@human-content.com. Visit us on our social media platforms. Human Content Podcast Family is over there on Instagram at Human Content Pods. Thanks for all the listeners leaving feedback and reviews. We have at Happily Deranged on YouTube said, Kristen is distractingly lovely.
Oh, well, that's nice.
You really married up, Doc.
That's true.
That's nice and true.
Oh, you know what, though? I'm a little, thank you, first of all. It does come from someone who calls themselves deranged. So I don't know if that,
Also, can you please stop distracting our listeners and viewers of this podcast? That's just, I'd appreciate it.
Always got to have all the attention on you.
Focus on me.
I know.
And me alone. Okay. So full video episodes are up every week on our YouTube channel, by the way, at Glauc and Fleckens. Please go check that out. I read those comments, so be nice. But I also read them, and I don't do that everywhere. I do that because I really appreciate what you all have to say about the podcast. So please leave a comment for us. We also have a Patreon. Lots of fun perks.
We do.
And also, we're revamping Patreon.
We are. We're doing a little remodeling, speaking of remodeling.
We have a community manager now. Her name is Erin, and she's amazing.
She is.
She's going to just help us, get more engagement there and help us, make people feel welcome and form a real community. That's the idea, right?
Right.
And so lots of cool perks. We have the Milo cam. I don't know if you guys have seen. If you watch on the video episodes on YouTube, sometimes Milo, our standard poodle, our rescue is he's like blind. So
he's an ophthalmologist dog. You can't make this up.
An ophthalmologist's dream. He'll hang out in the background here. So we'll do some Milo content. We're gonna have some where I respond as a character to questions that come up in the Patreon community.
That's right.
Also, I might give some whiteboard presentations.
Yeah.
I'm not even in academics, and I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna explain things with a whiteboard. So, but I like the character response thing because, I would love for the ortho bro to just be like, "Hey, how do you update your vehicle's registration?"
Yeah.
Presented by Ortho Bro.
Right.
So those are the types of things that you can find that you can expect to see over on Patreon. So
in addition to all the usual stuff
we
that will still be there.
Yeah, we react to medical shows and movies. We're there, active in it, all those things.
Early access to podcast episodes.
That's right. Yeah, all the things. When we do live shows, we give some perks, around the country. We give some perks there. Mm-hmm. So check it out, patreon.com/Glauctalk, or go to glauctalk.com to learn more. Other Patreon community perks. Let's shout out the Jonathans, should we? All right, here we go. Lucia C., Edward K., Marion W., Mr. Granddaddy, Caitlin C., Brianna L., MP Cole, Tracy B., Mary H., Keith G., Parker, Muhammad L., David H., Kaylee A., Gabe, Gary M., Eric B., Marlene S., Scott M., Kelsey M., Dr. Hoover, Sean M., Ryan N., Jess K., Hawkeye MD, Bubbly Salt, and Shawnee D. A virtual head nod to you all. Patreon roulette time. Random shout out to some of the emergency medicine tier. Shout out to Alyssa L. for being a patron. Thank you, Alyssa. And thank you all for listening. We are your hosts, Will and Kristen Flannery, also known as the Glauctalk. Executive producers are Will Flannery, Kristen Flannery, Aaron Courtney, Rob Goldman, and Shanti Brooke. Our editor and engineer is Jason Portizzo. Our music is by Omer Benzvi. To learn about Knock Knock High's program disclaimer, ethics policy, submission verification, and licensing terms, the HIPAA release terms, go to glauctalk.com or reach out to us. knockknockhigh@human-content.com with questions, concerns, or fun medical puns. Knock Knock High is a human content production.
Knock knock, goodbye.
Thanks for watching the episode. You can find more on that playlist over there. If you prefer to listen, or you just had your eyes dilated, you can binge full episodes wherever you get your podcasts. Or join the party over on Patreon, where you get early access episodes, hang out with us, get lots of exclusive bonus content. Help you subscribe, leave a comment below. Let us know what you think.